welcome to YThrive Home. My name is Amy and I'll be your coach today as we work through an intermediate core workout. So going to get started right away. You don't need anything but your own body weight. And let's start with a little bit of a warm up. We'll start with some inchworm to get warmed up through the whole body. So with fairly straight legs, reach down towards the floor and then walk your hands out until you're in a high plank. Then walk your hands back. You can have as much bend in your knee as you need to be able to get all the way down to the ground. Walk your hands out and then walk all the way back. Standing back up. Let's go 2 more like that. Reach down for the floor. Walk all the way out. We'll walk back. And one more time. Hands come down. Walk out. Bring your hands back. And then stand up. And then take your hands forward and just add a little bit of a rotation. Just taking your hands, not going far enough that it's pinching, just a nice gentle rotation. And then bring an alternating knee into that. So the opposite elbow comes across for the knee. Still getting that nice rotation through the mid-body. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your balance onto one leg, then just start to swing the other leg. Maybe get some upper body arm swings as well, staying balanced on the one leg as you draw into your core. And then switching that leg, place that leg down, and get the other leg. Work. Taking both feet down, take a little bit of a tap, and then reach that arm across, lengthening through your side body as you reach across. Let's go 4 more, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Keep that march going. Take a deep breath in. And let's begin our first core exercise, coming down onto the mat in a seated position. Most of what we do today will be on a mat or the floor, so if you have a mat and you find that helpful for your tailbone or your knees, go ahead and grab the mat or a towel on your floor. You're just going to start with a V-sit. So we're going to start sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back over your hips, heels out in front on the floor, and then reach your hands out just past your knees. With a long spine, lean back. Come back into that V-sit position, or if you like to practice yoga, you may know it as boat. And staying here, relax the shoulders and look up towards the ceiling so you have a long spine. You want to come back far enough that you're challenged enough that you want to roll forward, but instead you're going to stay nice and long through that spine. And then let's add on some variety. You can stay right here the whole time. This is always where you can come back to. Or you might be able to take one leg at a time and lift it up off the ground. Or maybe both feet can come up off of the ground. So draw into that core, whichever option you've selected. We're going to stay here for 10 more seconds. Long breath. Almost there. Take your feet down, sit up nice and tall. Take a breath. And then find that position one more time where you want to roll forward. From here though, this time leaving your heels down, grab your opposite elbows and start to take that elbow one at a time down towards the side, rotating through your spine. Now you can continue here exactly as you are. If you have a hand weight heavy or anything that you wanted to add some extra resistance, you don't need to, but you can add some extra resistance. Again, keeping that spine nice and long and adding that rotation through the mid-body. So with or without an additional weight, you can choose to continue with something heavy that you're holding, or you can just grab your forearms. Lots of benefit here with no added weight. You decide. Stay here for a few more. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sit all the way up. Take a breath. And then come back, reach those arms out like you did the first time. Lean back till that core is firm and engaged. Soften your shoulders. And then decide which variation you're moving to. One leg, both legs, or no legs touching the ground. Nice strong core, steady breath. Relax your shoulders. Stay with that for a few more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and sit all the way back up. Take a breath. And this time as you settle back in for our last core challenge in this position, lean back. And then this time, like you're climbing a rope, so reach up ahead of you, and then one side at a time reaches up as though you were pulling that rope, and it comes down towards your waist as though you were actually lifting yourself up through that full motion. So one shoulder will reach and then pull, drawing into your core and staying nice and engaged throughout. Stay with that. That's it. We've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, almost there, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Sit all the way up, and let's move into a side plank. So take one elbow down underneath your shoulder. Choose to lift either from the knees or from your feet. Lift your hips straight up off the mat. Hugging your hips up, lifting them towards the ceiling. Your hand can come down in front or be stacked on the hip. Option would be to continue holding right here, strong and steady, or to lower the hip and then lift the hip. Stay with that. If you're lifting, we've got 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent work. Come all the way down to that hip and bring your feet around to the other side. So like you did before, stack your elbow right underneath your shoulder. Choose to lift from the knees or, for a little bit more intensity, from the feet. And lift those hips up, hugging into the whole side body. Decide on your fingertip placement. And take some nice controlled breaths. And decide to stay right here or adding in those hip dips. Hips lowering and then lifting back up. Good job. If you're lifting the hips, we've got 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Lift all the way up. And then come back down. Great work. Laying down onto your back now. Lowering your back right down to the floor. Like our other exercises, lots of options for variations here. Take your arms, wrap them underneath with your right arm underneath your left. And then bring your knees up to 90 degrees and take your right leg and cross it over the left. Option 1, just like this, you're going to hug your knees and your elbow together, and then you're going to open them up. Eagle crunch. Or, if you're fairly open through your back And you can bind your hands around, moving into an eagle posture in your upper body. You can go for a full bind. But again, if that doesn't feel good to you, go ahead and open up and just grab your shoulders. Exhaling as you bring the elbow and the knee together. Stay with that. We've got 4 more on this side. 3, 2, and 1. Take your feet down, uncross. Take a breath here. And then switch your legs. So the other leg comes across. And now it's your left arm that reaches underneath. And set up just as you did before. Bring the elbow and knee together. And inhale to open up. Or wrap the hands into that full bind. Exhale as you come together. Inhale as you lower. And if your arms are bound, you can reach right back for the floor with that fingertip as your heel taps the ground. If your hands are not bound, they may not reach back to the floor. Nicely done. 4 more. Exhale as you come together. Inhale as you open. 2 more times. 1 more time. And unwind. Roll back over onto your front and come into a plank position from your elbows. So elbows right under shoulders, hips dropped in, or feel free to lift your knees and come up onto the toes. So you're in a solid plank position, and you're just going to hold this here. First time we're in position, we're just going to hold it. Long, steady breaths we're holding for another 15 seconds. Steady breath. Strong core. Remember, you always have the option to come down from your knees if you need to. And then bring your knees down, sit your hips back, take a breath. And as you walk back out for your second set, we're going to take a high plank. So if your wrists bother you, you can always come back down to the elbows like we just did. Otherwise, you're choosing to drop your hips in from here or to lift from your toes, holding this high plank variation. Steady your breath. And then you can choose to stay right here for a 30-second hold, or you can alternate stepping out and in with your foot behind you, trying to keep your hips fairly level as you take that step. Keep going. 15 seconds left. So you can switch which leg you're leading that step with if you're doing the step. And you can do the same from the knee. If you want to be taking steps from the knee, you can do that as well. 3, 2, 1. Good job. Come down onto the knees. Sit back. Take a breath here. Exhale. Almost done. We're going to come back down to a plank one more time from the elbows. So come back out from the elbows. Drop your knees to the floor, hips in line, elbows down. And then decide if you want to lift the toes up. Now in this position for our last 30 seconds, you can choose to hold right here, or from the knees or the toes. You can take one hip at a time and lower it towards the mat, and then come back into center. Controlling that movement each time. It doesn't matter if you bring your hips all the way down to the ground. Move into a range of motion that you are in control and that you're not experiencing any pinching through your shoulders. Almost there. Good job. Bring your knees down if they're not already, and then sit back onto your heels. Excellent work. We're going to finish off our core today with one last set of those eagle crunches. So roll back onto your back. You know where you're headed now, so you can get there as quickly as you can. Laying on your back, crossing your right arm underneath, right leg over top, and starting your crunch or moving into bound arms. Heels and fingers lower, and then alternating as they come together to squeeze in at the top. Exhale and inhale each time. 2 more on this side. 1 more. Unwind. And without a pause, switch sides. Lift your knees and then begin to squeeze elbow to knee together. Cross shoulder or bound arms. Continue with your breath. Two more to go, you're almost there. And done, nicely done. Taking a nice, great, big, long pencil stretch. Enjoying this as you reach your fingertips and toes as far away from each other as you can. Deep breath in. Exhale, empty. Bring your feet down to the ground. Arms out straight from your shoulders. Tip your knees one direction. Looking the opposite direction. Getting a nice stretch through your side. Rotation through your torso. Bring your knees to center. And then lower them to the other side. Look the opposite direction. Bring both hands to the same side. Press yourself up into seated. Sitting cross-legged. Taking a nice twist again to one side. Deep breath in. Back to the center. Twist the other direction. Back to the center. One hand comes down, the other hand comes up and over as you bend that elbow behind you. Switching sides. Reach the other way. Sitting up nice and tall. Reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. Big breath in. Exhale, bring your hands down. Great work today. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, if you like this video, to hit like and subscribe to YThrive Home for many more workouts to come. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time of day it is for you. And I hope to see you back here again very soon.